Forum. I am Wilson on Marshall. Since apology for starting slightly behind schedule, we have to put modalities in order for you to have at least a near perfect show. It is all about the Chinese Communist Party's Congress and, of course, the stand of Xi Jinping. His prospects of grabbing, of attaining, retaining that third term bid. Things have been wagging, but many are saying he has done so well for China. How did it get to this position? And how come it's like China is in his grip? What about the Hong Kong issue, the Taiwan issue, relationship with the world? All these and more we'll take a look at today's installment of International Forum. With me here in the studio, I want to start off from my extreme left. Yes, extreme left. Join me to welcome political analyst Ibrahim Momo. Welcome to International Forum. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, viewers.
All right. As very close to him, he is a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, public affairs commentator. Join me to welcome, yes, the welcome barrister A.B. Thomas. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Good afternoon to you and the viewers at home.
Very close to me, he is a legal practitioner, human rights activist, political analyst. Join me to welcome barrister Emmanuel Obakolo. Welcome to International Forum.
Good afternoon, Nigerians. Good afternoon, Wilson.
Right. Barrister A.B. Thomas, I want you to tee off this discussion. Xi Jinping, they call him the supreme leader of China. They call him the strong man of China. And in their Congress, he made many things known to the world. It's like this man really means business, but most of the words he's used or said about some certain issues doesn't really go down too well with the West. Take it up from there.
Well, this Xi Jinping is the current leader of China. He's done 2 terms as their leader and is aiming to get a 3rd term. And he was the Secretary General of the Communist Party in China. And as we all know, China is a one-party state. And being a one-party state, all they do is their own kind of democracy, which is homegrown democracy that allows the one party to hold their biannual meetings where the leader is chosen. He is, I would call, a reincarnation of Chairman Mao and believes so much in Chairman Mao's principles and philosophies. And as a modern leader, he has done a lot to elevate China from a poverty-stricken country to a very modern society. And we've seen that in the fact that China, which never colonized any country in Africa, has now moved into Africa now, doling out aid, loans, though with stringent conditions. And we've seen that China is now moving to some countries in Africa that take delight in taking loans from Africa because China does not have strict anti-corruption rules or human rights rules. So it is a very palatable place for African leaders to take loans from China as against the West that will always put stringent human rights and anti-corruption rules to every loan they grant. Oh. China has even gone into Asia, where the country is located, and they have also tried to help countries like
the Taiwan you're talking about because of the recent quarrel they have.
Taiwan, they are against Taiwan. They say Taiwan is one of their territories, which actually was part of their territory until 1949. And they are saying, and he is saying that he does not rule out the possibility of his using force of arms to take back Taiwan to become part of China.
Okay, okay. I'll come back to you, Barrister A.B. Thomas. Barrister Emmanuel Obakolo, when this man came on the scene, according to so many persons, though he is a priestling, that's what they call them, he wasn't known 10 years ago. And now it's like the world just got to know him because of his antecedents as a leader, a ruler, a supreme leader at that. How do you think he was able to make himself so prominent in Chinese politics and, of course, in global politics within this short period of time?
Yes, looking at the age advantage in his side, and also considering the economic and political achievement China has made. Because just now, under his rulership, China has been tagged with the phrase Asian tiger. In fact, they've surpassed Asian tiger. They are now world tiger, in my own opinion. So looking at that kind of achievement made thus far by this young, vibrant politician, one would not doubt the possibility of him becoming what he is today. Like the saying goes, it is when the people stands with a man that the man is seen to be a strong man. The people of China definitely are with him just now. The man rose from being the Secretary General of the only and famous political party in China, to become the supreme leader. So one would understand that he has come all the way following the trend, and with the kind of his style of leadership that is considered to be the same with that of Mao of China. So it is definitely a good ground for him to have come this far. And just now, you know that there is this political power play between the West, particularly the United States of America, and China over the Taiwan issue. So just now, himself is working very hard to see how he can emerge, succeed. Thereafter, to see how the power grip that it seems that China has over Taiwan could be maintained, so that all this while the policy and principles that he has been able to lay down, he can now bring them to the table to see that Taiwan is being controlled by China. So already, if you don't want to cause a break in chain between the power fight between the Chinese just now and the United States of America, I think it is better to allow this man for a third term. And I think that is what he is standing on just now.
We are coming to that third term issue. Before we delve into the third term issue, Ibrahim, I believe that you've done your research on this man. Some accuse the man of being, one, brutal, two, doesn't respect human rights, three, he's an authoritarian, and of course, four, he has a way of taking out his enemies right now, in quote. How do you view these factors about Xi Jinping?
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say that for me, Xi Jinping has been more or less what I could call a modern day czar, a modern day dictator, a modern day emperor. Because despite the fact that China is a one-party state, we have seen a succession plan in place over the years.
A succession plan in place?
Yes, right from Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao.
Yeah.
Those who were going to take over, the next set of leaders we already know, whether it was Hu Jintao, whether it was Deng Xiaoping, whether it's Xi Jinping, even the Xi Jinping himself, and of course one other one who was there before.
Yeah.
What you are seeing is that there was a succession plan in place, right from the days of Chairman Mao. But what you are seeing today is a coagulation, a kind of, taking out, like you put it correctly, of all potential personalities for the office of Premier. And then, today you can't say who is going to succeed Xi Jinping. There's nobody. That was not the case with him. From the days of Chairman Mao, we already knew who was going to be the. From this quarter, you could know this is for the next 10 years. This is the premier. After him, this is the next. You already knew there was a grooming process. There was a kind of mentoring process in place. Yes. What do we have in China today? Nothing. Secondly, is the fact that before him, he is the beneficiary too. There was this 10-year principle your tenure is 10 years. Xi Jinping has changed that by this, this third term ambition, which he has just secured with the Communist Party Congress. That was not the case. His predecessor spent only, even the very infamous Hu Jintao didn't spend more than 10 years. Deng Xiaoping didn't spend more than 10 years. So where does President Xi get his power? Where gets the he's offsetting the apple cart. Instead of taking out all potential candidates for the position of premier, and then extending his tenure by 10, and this is just the beginning. There are indications that it's going to be a no-term limit. That's what he has put in place now, so that he can be president for life. That one is a disturbing descent. And then when you look at his record, because I get the idea that I get the sense from my very distinguished previous speakers that there's some platitudes for a way to, he has something to praise about Xi Jinping. I beg to differ with all due respect. Of course, my seniors are here, but I beg to differ because, first of all, you look at it from the point of view of the economy. In political science, you say, is the economy stupid? If you are in power and the economy is dying, the economy is not, the quality of life, standard of living, and the gross domestic product of a country is not performing, then you are nothing.
All right.
The economic record of Xi Jinping leaves much to be desired. On three plans.
On 3 plans. Fine, not to worry. When I get back to you, expatiate on those 3 plans. Now, how come this man became so powerful? Some are saying it's because he was able to merge the 3 prominent branches, so to speak, of leadership of China to himself. The armed forces, the party, and of course, one other important arm. Take it up from there, Barrister A.B. Thomas.
You can find that, in a society that breeds no opposition, you are likely to create a one-man monster. In the case of China, you'll find that, like my speaker to my left said, there were leaders who were being groomed. And for him, it was very easy to muzzle those people who were supposed to be in contention for leadership by pinning them down with allegations of corruption. As soon as he was able to pin corruption to the rival leaders and put them on trial, they were all taken away. So if you look at his style was, it's both Chinese and Western style of autocracy. You pin your threats down with allegations of corruption, then take them before the Western type of court. Western European countries type of court. The type you find in Western Europe and America. Then try them. Let the whole world see that you are trying them. By the time you put them before the world to see that you are trying them, then you give them long jail sentences. Then these people are gone. And don't forget that it is a one-party system. So nobody rises up again from that system to say, we want to challenge this man. And when nobody is challenging you, you become an autocrat. You become a despot. You become authoritarian. And you become a political monster to your people. Not too long ago, we had a country very close to us in West Africa here, where their president ruled for over 30 years. Very close to your border here. And when he is coming out, he came into power at the same time with people like Gowan. And because his own country was a one-party country, when he's coming out very early in the morning, people will be asked to go and line up in the street. They won't go and line up. And when he is coming out of, when he's passing, instead of you to face him and be waving, and some will be crying, as it is done in North Korea, where people will be crying, we don't want you to die. You are next to, if I are the God. But in our West African country here, the man was so powerful and autocratic that the people who are asked to come and welcome him will back him.
Turn their backs.
They turn their back. Yet they will be praising the man they're not saying. So that is the type of leadership that Xi Jinping had created in China. And when you muzzle the armed forces, by give them more money, funding them into modern weaponry, and making them a force to be reckoned with, not only in China, but in the whole world, particularly make America to fear you, then you are doing well. Then if you look at the judicial system, he has also muzzled the judicial system to the extent that when he makes a pronouncement, the court does not differ. So if you look at whatever has happened in the past 8 years, you will find that no court judgment in China has ever gone against his pronouncements.
All right. Indeed, from what all of you have agreed to, he's really a powerful man. But so I said that the reason why people trusted him is that he was able to try and, of course, fight over 4.2 million citizens of China when you talk about the anti-graft war. According to record, we were able to go against that number of persons in China. Hence, they are madly in love with his style of leadership. Barrister, I'll call to Barrister Ifeoma. Barrister, what's your view on that?
First and foremost,
in his fight against corruption.
First and foremost, I must start with this. A communist society is a recipe for disaster.
Many may differ.
Yes.
Okay.
To the extent that what you see today happening in China is a foundation that has been laid for a very long time. And the man understanding the politics and the intrigues in communism seems to develop more on that. And that's why today he is more or less an idol in China. A man who could try that number of persons and now confine them to a particular place.
4.2 million
then,
persons.
How do you now want an opposition against him? A situation where his pronouncement is higher and better than that of the highest court in China. That's why I started by saying that a communist society is a recipe for disaster. However, politically, to my mind, the man has achieved to the extent that China has been lifted above where it used to be, politically and economically, in the international community. But his style is that he sees every potential rival as an enemy. Perhaps the man has also adopted the style profiled by Niccolo Machiavelli in his book titled The Prince, wherein you see every potential enemy of yours or any potential rival as an enemy and you destroy the person. So he has taken to the style of destroying every potential rival, their political ground, so that at the end of the day, he cannot become an idol for eternity.
All right.
And just now, that is what the man has achieved.
Okay, he said that is what the man has achieved. But the 4.2 million persons tried by Xi Jinping, people are saying that it has not been done anywhere in the world. Take a look at the number and was able to follow through individually 4.2 million persons. Now, in course of the Congress, all right, he made a statement. The people will come first. Before we react to that, Ibrahim, want to go for a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Don't go away. This is International Forum. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at the Chinese Communist Party's Congress. Xi Jinping's stand, don't forget, he's gunning for a third term, and all indicators are in his favor. Some are saying he is the man to be. Some are saying he is the Messiah. Some are saying he's an incarnate of Chairman Mao. What do you feel about that? I'm an analyst. They are throwing more light on that. The concept of the people coming first. He reiterated it, and it didn't go down too well with some multimillionaires in China, but the man doesn't give a hoot A communist party, people's welfare is first, no matter who ox is God. Take it up from there.
Well, I think talk is cheap. That's how I respond to it. Because the question I want to ask, which people? Which people is, if he, like some leaders will say, we the people, when they're talking about themselves, you know. If that is the people he's talking about, him, himself, and he. So maybe that's the people. Yeah, but aside that, I don't see how he can legitimately, sensibly claim to be representing the people. I say that on a couple of foundations. The first thing is that whereas the whole world has moved beyond COVID, China is the one country where there are still very stringent total lockdowns and restrictions in several, just because when you have one positive case of COVID, you lock down whole sorts of communities. You can even lock down a whole province just to do compulsory mass testing. It's only in China, in the whole world, that we still have that in place. It is the same China where the people that have been eloquently addressed do not even have a say in their leaders, who become their leader. It's a one-party system. It's supposed to be a politburo, a kind of system where there's a collective kind of leadership. What you have as premier is primus inter pares, the first among equals. Under V, it is no more it's no more beyond as it is now one man up there. And then even the answer, there's actually no separation of powers anymore. It is now all powers contained in one individual. And then you have a situation whereby even those countries, if you may, vassal states that they have issues with, whether it is Hong Kong here, it is Taiwan there, it's even Tibet in the other place, you are seeing a kind of totalitarian annexation ambition. They have succeeded to push through the kind of very stringent takeover of the governance in Hong Kong. And then there is this claim he keeps on making that he is interested in what he calls the unification. The question we ask ourselves, unifying with what? In Chinese history, the rulers of China are the current leaders, is the current Taiwan. It is when there was a revolt that this, what we call China today, the leadership of China today took over. And then the previous leaders moved to a corner called Taiwan. Now when you talk about, you say one China, was Taiwan, was it ever under this Chinese rule? Never. So which people, which people does he refer to when he says the people must confess? I think that it's just mere rhetoric. It's just cheap, and it's just a way of, couching or covering, the real issues.
All right. Now, he said it's just rhetoric. It's just a way of couching or covering the real issue. But take a look at China. According to records some years ago, he said he wants to raise at least 100 million millionaires in China. And according to report, it's like this man is achieving this. Now, picking on that statement, the people first, Barrister A.B. Thomas, don't you think he's being true to his words?
I don't think so. When I say I don't think so, I will give you my reasons for them not taking so. You see, when we hear 100 million people as millionaires, what is the population of China? When we ask ourselves what is the population of China, then you divide 100 by the population of China, I will say that it's not more than 10%. So if a man scores 10% in Nigeria, 5%. Good. So if a man scores 10%, my friend says it's because I had F9 mathematics twice. I had F9 mathematics twice. So if my friends here can calculate, they can help me. They say it is 5%. I was less than 5. Okay? If you have 10% in Nigeria, by our standard, you have not passed. Right. So I can't judge a man who is scoring more than who is scoring about 5% in China as having done well. But you see, that brings to the whole issue. What is the philosophy of the big? What is your philosophy? If we are talking of communism, millionaires are alien to the philosophy of communism. So, the issue of millionaires or billionaires is akin to capitalism, not communism. So you see that the man is creating a system that is fighting within itself. And if he's not careful, he can consume him in future. If he's not careful, he can consume him in future. So if you also look at that, look at the fight he's fighting in Hong Kong. The United Kingdom has been in charge of Hong Kong for years. And you sign an agreement with such a sovereign nation that, oh, if you give up Hong Kong, we will allow one nation, two systems to thrive. But what do you find now? He has broken that agreement. China is now directly involved in the selection, not election, the selection process of the rulership in Hong Kong. Go to Tibet. The people of Tibet have no rights. So those ones are craving for independence. And you end up smothering them, abusing their human rights, and you end up as a totalitarian country without checks and balances in the system. So when those people begin to see the light of day, they will revolt someday. Then if you go to Taiwan, everybody knows that Taiwan was part of China. Who did not know that Ukraine was part of Soviet Union? But the war today in Ukraine is because Russia does not accept that the divorce of 1991 has come to stay. That balkanized Soviet Union into different republics. Putin is saying no to such balkanization. You want to regroup all the old Soviet countries back into a larger Russia. Countries are balkanizing whenever they find that their own rights and their own privileges are no longer recognized by the central government. And we are having that kind of issue in Nigeria here, where people say, oh, well, you don't recognize us, we want to go. So people should be allowed to exercise their freedom. Not this one he is doing. Whoever is on the line, not even against you, whoever is on the line to succeed you, you remove him by putting him into prison. Then you remain. Otherwise, he cannot go for third term. But because there's no point to even succeed him, the Chinese people will line up in the street, singing his praise to take a third term. But all this does not take away the important thing. Has this man succeeded in uplifting the standard of the average Chinese man? My answer is yes.
Yes.
My answer is yes.
Okay.
China has gone into modernization. Fast trains, the peasants are producing well, and they are being paid well. But like I said, the question remains, has the economic status of the country and that of the citizen improved? The answer is yes. But when you begin to talk politically, it is then we are highlighting the deficiencies in the Chinese governance system.
All right. Now, Xi Jinping is gunning for the third term. Some are saying he just inevitably become a live president if all goes according to his plans, because he has put modalities in place to make sure that he retains that position, maybe, just maybe, until death. And he's saying the people first. Now, one of you talked about U.S. being afraid of you. With the inception of Xi Jinping, him staying there for over 5 years, going to 10 years now, has he been able to achieve that feat to make U.S. respect China to the extent that when U.S. cough, China doesn't sneeze anymore?
Yes.
Can you give it to Xi Jinping?
Yes. From that angle, the man has been able to put in check, to an extent, the Western world. To the extent that if you look at US just now, and you look at China, and you look at the battle of Taiwan between the United States of America and China, you discover that even the United States of America is very careful in handling issues that pertain to Taiwan. In 1975, China, before then, Taiwan used to be part of China. But in 1975, they gained what I call the partial independence from China. And China went to the United States of America to give recognition to Taiwan. to my mind, that was where China sold their right of control over Taiwan. And since then till date, there is this struggle between China or Chinese and the United States of America over Taiwan. Now, be it as it may, you discover that the emergence of Xi Jinping, he now tried to see that there is this total control of China over Taiwan, leaving out the history wherein China went to plead to the United States of America to give recognition to Taiwan, and by so doing, they invited United States of America to come into Taiwan. So you now see that when he emerged, the man now see how he can battle that out. So he is pulling the string from the one side, the United States of America is pulling the string from the other side. So there is this battle of supremacy between China and the United States of America. But just now, just like my learned senior said, economically, the man has been able to improve the lives of the people of China. But politically, he has made so much enemies. And he has also developed this style, like I did say from the outset of this discussion, wherein he applied the style of Niccolo Machiavelli in the book titled The Prince, where every supposed or would-be rival is an enemy. And so, the man seemed to be having his way just now. So, he has so much battle to fight than making more friends.
All right.
So much battle, even within the Asian continent, he has battles to fight. Some persons are not in line with him. He is not in good relationship with some other Asian countries. Likewise, the international community. But economically, China has developed.
Okay, now a friend of mine said, Wilson wants to control the economy. Economy is doing well. Politically, everything will fall into place. People like saying that rating Xi Jinping, he has conquered almost all adversaries, to some extent, the United States of America. Do you share this view, Ibrahim?
It hasn't conquered all adversaries, and by no chance, by any stretch, has he conquered the United States of America.
When you talk about their influence over China.
I think, no, every country, but even Nigeria, where you have a lot of, divided opinion, the U.S. does not even control, Nigeria. Even where you have somewhat divided opinion because of primordial sentiments. We still do not, the U.S. still does not control, China does not still control. It's almost impossible to do that. And then you tie that question to the issue of the economy. I want to say first and foremost, some of the successes of the Chinese economy in uplifting the poor, it's not Xi's making. This is something that has been, one of the challenges countries in the third world, including Nigeria, has faced, is the lack of consistency in development planning. You see, for example, we have the Vision 2010, Vision 2000, Vision 2020, and there are no connectivity. A government, for example, the Obasanjo decision came with needs, National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy. Obasanjo had a hand in bringing Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua didn't continue with needs. He came up with his own 7-point agenda. When Yar'Adua died, his vice president, Jonathan, became president. He threw away the 7-point agenda and brought his own transformation agenda. And then when Jonathan left, Buhari came, he came with his own 3-point agenda. That is not planning. What you are seeing with China up until Xi Jinping became president or premier is the consistency in national planning. Consistency. That is what is culminating in the successes we are claiming or we are attributing to Xi Jinping. But if you look at the facts as it is today, is China doing well? Today, it's not. I say that because today in China, we are seeing the bourgeois, the private sector players who are key employers of labor, including Alibaba, the owner of Alibaba, have been muzzled out of the economy. These are the key. Alibaba at one time was the biggest, the largest departmental stores in the world. Number one in the world. Where is the leader today? Where is the owner of Alibaba today? You don't hear him again because he made one statement, just one statement, that tended to challenge Xi's economic policy. They took him out. And then you have a thing whereby the COVID-19 stringent policy of continued lockdown whenever there's one positive case in a province or community has tended to, kill the economy, such that China's GDP growth rate, GDP growth rate,
Yes.
2021 was 1.16%. China, that used to be the fastest growing economy in the world, last year was 1.16%. And then you are seeing again that when you look at the employment figures, you are seeing increasingly more people are losing their homes, not able to pay for their homes. Of course, they had the housing crisis last year. They were the world's biggest, what do you call it now, housing company collapsed, a Chinese company, the world's biggest collapsed under GDP. So I don't know, some of the successes we are seeing were the product of long-term planning that were following through. And then as of today, we are seeing that those gains are being lost under Xi Jinping.
Well, but so you heard him. He said it wasn't Xi. But people are saying that it was because of this Xi Jinping, his own ideology. That's why China has been able to come up stronger more than the time of Chairman Mao. You talked about that. I talked about losses over by China. Did you agree to his comments?
No. To some extent, he is right. To some extent, he is right. But there's a point I want to make. He has given a lucid explanation as to Nigeria's ecosystem plans. Good. But if you look at it,
Yes.
nothing stops Xi Jinping from derailing. After all, he's a human being. If you are the kind of monster he has become in China, with all powers vested in just one man. This Communist Party Congress is a meeting where the principles and procedures for doing anything in China is usually reviewed. But it's not like the normal parliament that can meet every day or meet every month or every week. So they give the ground norm, the basis for the communist rule. But in a situation where such a communist party does not meet regularly, what stops a human being from deviating? He can deviate. He can say, look, this is the philosophy laid down by Chairman Mao in his famous green book or red book, and I'm not going to follow it. What will you do? It only shows he's a good man for him to agree to follow the laid down developmental procedures.
Yes.
You have enumerated what, if we can even go back to 1980, Shagari, Green Revolution in Obasanjo's time, that we have not been following. Who has killed them? Your leaders. Who has killed your leaders for not following? Ajakuta has become a moribund thing. But when Shagari was doing that, it was meant to advance Nigeria economically and industrially. But what has happened today now? That place is now full by cockroaches and rodents.
But for Chiba, for Xi Jinping, follow the blueprint.
The footprint. If he follow the blueprint and today is succeeding, give him that credit, please. Give him the credit. Because as a human being, he could have
Deviated.
So if we look at it that way, and we look at the fact that, apart from that, talking about defense spending, China is having the best of the two worlds. Defending China from external aggression, and at the same time providing economic benefits in the defense industry to his own workers. But what are you doing in Africa here? What you are doing is that you go to China, borrow money from China, and you mortgage a country in Africa. A country in Africa lost its police force to China. China will not give you one kobo without tying it to your valuable assets in your country. So China has been doing that to Africans, give you loan. They will not put on mechanism to check that the loan is not corruptly utilized. They will not. They will give you loan. They will not ask whether you have human rights cases. They will not. So African countries that are corrupt run to China. Otherwise, what is it? That you have to get China to give you loan to build a railway station from Abuja to Katsina and beyond Katsina into the Niger Republic. What kind of sense is that? What economic sense is that?
Thank you, Marcel, so much. Please, let's stay focused because our time is up. I just got a strong signal. Well, I know, time flies when we're having serious discussion. From your own analysis, you want to use your third eye. Do you see Xi Jinping becoming a life president in China?
Of course.
In 1 minute each. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I said that the communist system is a recipe for disaster. I see him not just becoming a president for life, I've seen him becoming an emperor.
I don't agree with you.
Because just now, the man acts as an emperor, and he is. And just now, he has a kingdom which he governs in China. However, the man has done his best.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Emmanuel Obakbolo. Well, Ibrahim, your last point on this is said communism is a recipe for disaster. Do you agree to that comment?
I strongly disagree with you.
You disagree?
Strongly. Because that is what the Western-style liberal democracy tries to preach. That there's no other system. But we are seeing that there's development in China, the type you're not even getting in the US going on. And then, of course, if it's about term limits, the just immediate past penultimate chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, was there for how long? That was not communism. Margaret Thatcher, Tony Blair. These are people who have stayed over 10 years in office. That was not. So I don't really know why he's consistent in attacking communism.
Thank you. Thank you. But before you have the last line, what advice do you have to Chinese citizens? And of course, so we here as Nigerians, what can we draw from China? Briefly.
Well, the Chinese should try and open up and grant fundamental human rights to citizens. It's not something that is too much to ask for. Dissent is another way of developing your country. When you aggregate the different views from different people, when you properly aggregate, it can lead to more development. You are developing, you can develop better. Right. As for Nigeria, we should please stop taking loans from China.
That was a strong one. Please stop taking loans from China. But you will agree to the fact that this man has done well. Xi Jinping, take a look at the military, take a look at the economy, take a look at their stand. When you talk about international relations, just can't talk to China as a country anyhow. They used to hear when a country sneezes, others catches cold. But right now, whether you sneeze today, tomorrow, whatever, China hardly catches cold. But rather, when they sneeze, many countries are beginning to catch cold. Some are saying because of the Xi Jinping factor. The man, according to many of them, is a vision-filled man and he's executive vision. But his style of leadership, that is what many pundits are saying, it has a huge comma. Is that comma a good comma for the Chinese people? Only time will tell. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. We'll keep bringing it to you on International Forum, God willing.